a message came through about 48 hours prior, and they said, "Right, can we trust you?" sort of thing, Men in Black style. And I'm like, yes, just to be a goalkeeper, use my hands and stuff like that. And I fell in love with Mark Schwarzer. 3 o'clock kickoff is like 4 a.m. for me, 3 a.m. for me. I mean, when Riley scored and there was no camera, I would have been down the street, mate. Like, I was so ecstatic for him, especially because I've got that connection now. I think the top scorer potentially isn't even at the club yet.
Yes, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I've got a very special guest, especially for the Middlesbrough fans. It's the one and only Inrictus from all the way down under. Inrictus, what's going on, mate? How you doing?
Good morning, mate. How are we? Good to see you. Thank you so much for inviting me on. Happy to have a chat.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I'm good, my end, mate. It's 10 o'clock at night here. What's the score down there? So you just said good morning to me. So
yeah, I've just been up since about 5 a.m. So it's just gone 7 a.m. here now. So yeah, not too bad, but yeah, not the ghostly hours that I have been up for some of the games and stuff like that. So it's this is quite reasonable, actually.
What have you done for the last 2 hours then? 5 till 7. That's a bit of a stretch.
So yeah, I've got some stuff. So we got some stuff coming up with the Red Radio. So got a lot going on behind the scenes there. So yeah, a lot of work there, which is incredible. My own YouTube stuff, I try and get it done before work, sort of thing. So I get up early before the kids are up and stuff like that. So yeah, try and get it all that sort of stuff done. And yeah, and now we're here having a cup of tea and sharing breakfast, and you've probably already had dinner, I guess.
Oh mate, yeah, I'm full. I'm bloated, to be honest. Yeah, I was ready for bed, mate. It's 10 past 10 here. I'm usually in bed about 9. It's chaos, especially with kids. You know how it is. Mate. Up early, up early and bed early. But yeah, anyway, in terms of us two, the long distance Boro fans. One's longer distance than the other. I'm about 300 miles away, just west of London. You're. Okay. God knows how many miles you are away. Thousands and thousands of miles away.
20-hour flight, I believe. Yeah, something crazy. Yep.
Mental. Well, yeah, mine's about a 4-hour drive.
Okay.
So not too bad. Just a little bit less than you, obviously. But yeah, tell us about yourself. Obviously, from Australia. Tell us whereabouts you're from. What do you do? About your social channels. I'll see you popping up everywhere. So yeah, just give us a little rundown of what's going on your end.
Well, so yeah, my backstory is I was in the military for 12 years. I was injured in Afghanistan. I did a couple of tours with the Australian military. I was injured in 2010 while I was in Afghanistan, and I still stayed in the military once we got back. But it was all my right shoulder, and I picked up sort of video editing, just sort of as a I guess a new sort of career mode that I could do from with mouse and keyboard sort of thing. And then, yeah, when I was doing video editing, I picked up a few jobs for a couple of YouTubers, a couple of Twitch streamers and stuff like that. And I was having fun with it. And I was doing and then I picked up like training videos as well for like the Defence Force through just previous contacts and stuff. I was having fun with it, but I wasn't like able to be as creative as I wanted to be with some of the editing and stuff like that. So I thought, well, why not sort of just do my own sort of editing? And it was, I'm a Boro fan since, 2003, 2004. And love my sport, always grew up on sport. So mad Middlesbrough fan. That'd be probably my number one team. Love the Dallas Cowboys as well. Adelaide Crows, obviously that's the local AFL. So I just thought, why not sort of, just start doing some edits for myself around the teams that I love and I'm passionate about. So, and then, that was about a year ago, I think. And now we're here, which has just gone crazy. I can't believe it. So yeah, being able to announce a couple of players for the Boro and working with them, interviewing Riley McGree and all the love and support and all the stuff that's coming up as well. It's just it's a mind blowing. So yeah, my YouTube is sort of like my focus, I guess now. And then there's a lot of stuff around that, but yeah, still trying to work and be a dad and have a family and try and it's a bit hard obviously being so far away because the key times when news comes out for transfers or everything for Boro, it's always stupid o'clock. So it is hard to sort of run the night shift, but yeah, no, I wouldn't change it. It's something I'm passionate about and I love it. So yeah.
Nice, mate. I can relate to that. I've got I've got a full-time job. I've got kids. I'm trying to be a dad. I've got all my football social channels. I've also got the dad one as well. which
nice.
which is taken off. It's got like it's got a few 100,000 followers on a couple of platforms and stuff. So
that's awesome.
Just trying to divide my time up is just obviously be a dad and watch the games and go to the games. Like I was meant to be going to Coventry on Saturday, but I can't now basically because other stuff's come up. But I will be at the Huddersfield game. That'll be my first of the season, then hopefully West Brom after that. So yeah, mate, I can totally get the whole juggling a million things at once type of thing. But it looks like it's going well, and like as you're probably discovering, if you're just sat there chatting waffle about Middlesbrough and football and NFL and whatever else you like, it doesn't really feel like work, does it? Even if you're doing 20-hour days and stuff. So.
At all, mate. No, as I said, I do it, around everything else, and it's, just something I'm passionate about. I love this team. I do, and I could sit here and talk to anyone about it, the club and the players and all that for hours on end. So, all the podcasts that I've been invited to, even though the podcasts and the special guests and, working with the club and stuff, even though it's been at, stupid o'clock for me, it's, it doesn't feel like an effort to get up when you get the chance to, talk Boro or interview a player or do whatever it is. So it's definitely, it's definitely not work. It's definitely passion. And it's, it's incredible. It's incredible what you can do with the internet these days, and how many people you can reach, I guess. So from all across the world, and you can share your story and, a love for a club that's literally on the other side of the world.
Exactly, mate. So that brings on to the next point. Why Boro?
I get asked this a lot. So 2004, I was playing AFL, the local sport. That was what my dad played. So I was sort of growing up playing that. And I sort of gave away with it. I wanted to be, I was falling in love with football and soccer, they call it here in Australia. Ambitions to be a goalkeeper, use my hands and stuff like that. And I fell in love with Mark Schwarzer. So he was a Socceroo at the time. He was an Australian goalkeeper, big lad, loved his footy and everything like that. And I just related to him, fell in love with him. Obviously, he was playing for Middlesbrough, and then I just fell in love with Middlesbrough. I just watched them every week. Used to get the Premier League DVD highlights and stuff like that. And my mate that I was sort of hanging around at the time was I think he was a Blackburn supporter, and I was like, nah, stuff that. I'm going with the Aussies and the big Boro, and I fell in love with it, and it just never changed. Would you still be a Boro fan? Yeah, I mean 1,000 times. I've been following since 2003, 2004, and there's been times when there's been no Aussies, but I still love this club to death, and there's no other way for me, and I've been, through the highs and lows now of a remote supporter. Got the chance to come and see the club live once when I was in the military. We did like an exchange program, and I got to go and watch a game in 2009. We played Blackpool. And you remember Charlie Adam? And this was Blackpool Charlie Adam prime, just before he went to Liverpool.
When they got promoted that season, wasn't it?
Yeah. And he it just tore us apart. And I remember because Brad Jones was in goal, and I was just sitting there like, oh no. But that's the only game I saw. We lost 4-1, I think it was. And I've never wavered, and I'll never will. Just love the club to death.
Nice, mate. Yeah, those were dark times. That was just after you come down. Like everything about that era, like, oh mate, the manager, the team, the kits were awful. Like it was just such a crap time. Like mate.
It was a bit obviously, like, it was crazy as well looking back now, having Gareth Southgate and obviously seeing what he does now, but having him probably before his time. Do you know what I mean? Obviously Steve Gibson had seen something in him that everyone else now sees, but and then obviously going down, just we never really sort of recovered from it. And although we had the Karanka days, I think, finally this season, I felt the most optimistic, especially, with the manager and the setup now that they've got. So then, even with Chris Wilder and Neil Warnock, and there was optimism there, but nothing like what Carrick has brung. And I think it's the optimism of no matter what squad he's got, he's going to be able to bring out the best in these players or these boys and these young kids, just through his, his coaching and his history and his knowledge. So I think, it's, I'm optimistic, very optimistic.
Yeah, same here, mate. Like, it feels like there's a bit of a feel-good factor, which I think has been missing. There's a bit of excitement, a young manager, like first job. He's played, to be honest, last season, probably some of the best football I've ever seen us play.
Oh, incredible, yeah.
Ever. Like, it's got some exciting, obviously, kids on the books. Hayden Hackney coming through. I don't know what's going on with Tuba, but that's a whole different story. I don't want to babble on about that for ages. But I hope that we get a few people in before the end of the transfer window, and I hope he pulls some strings with Man United. I was expecting some decent United youngsters. So yeah, we'll see, mate. So speaking of Man United, are you glad you started with Boro and didn't go to? I bet over where you are, there's loads of United, Liverpool, Chelsea, City now.
It's a big question of like, because nobody knows Middlesbrough. You know what I mean? Like in football, it's Man United, it's the Chelsea's, it's Man City now, sort of thing as well. So that's the big four dominate Australian headlines. If there's any Premier League news or football news, it's it's about Man United or the top four. And if we ever get the chance to a game on the TV here as well, it's also one of those bigger teams. So it was I think back in the day it was quite easy to sort of go, oh, I could do Man United, I could do Liverpool, but there was something about Middlesbrough that just encapsulated me, the fans and the Riverside Stadium at that stage, and obviously seeing Schwarzer and Duke, and then I saw some of these other players getting through, and I was just had Stewie Downing after a while, but he was saying how, because he was a steel worker, and he was saying how about Middlesbrough and the rough and tumble of it, and how much because where like how he grew up and stuff like that, he sort of can see how Middlesbrough as a town and as a place would connect with me, sort of thing. So and yeah, just as I said, never look back, because it's just too easy to follow a Man City, isn't it? Hey, even the Newcastle Uniteds with all this the money flowing. So
exactly,
what I
mean?
mate.
That's it. I always say, like, I was born up in Boro. I moved down south when I was 3. All my family are Boro, but I could have easily come down and supported like Man United or Liverpool, like all the other Southerners. But I stuck with them, and I've been to UEFA Cup, seen them play in Europe. I've seen them win a trophy. I've seen us get relegated. I've seen us get promoted. Like, I'd rather have that than just be someone just supporting Man United. Well, fair enough, not these days, but your Man City's just winning every week, and like, where's the fun in that? Like, see, have had their days where they were sort of like us, up and down, and in League One, beat Gillingham in Wembley and stuff. So you never know. Hopefully, in the near future, we get a bit of investment and start winning everything for one season. That's all I want, and I want us to go back down to the Championship. But yeah, anyway, like we spoke about it a minute ago, but is there a big Boro following over in Australia? I'm guessing not.
Nah, not really, mate. There's a couple of Facebook groups, and there's there's a couple that obviously poke up and comment on my YouTube. They say they're from like Melbourne or Sydney, and but it is very rare. And I did a walkathon for the MFC Foundation just recently to raise money for Alzheimer's, and I walked around just the lake, and I had a bucket and was in full Boro kit, and I was trying to raise money for like the MFC Foundation. And I reckon, I stopped, past everyone, and they were, all looking to stare at me. One guy thought, he's like, oh, nice Man United kid. I'm like, please. And then, and then a lot of people just had no idea what the club was. Or, they said, oh, is this your local team sort of thing that you're raising money for? I'm like, nah.
Far from it.
With the, obviously with the signings of, Sammy Silvera, Tom Glover, obviously Riley McGree as well, we're actually getting a little bit more traction, I would say. And obviously, it's through the Socceroos and stuff like that, but there is a little bit more sort of recognition, I would say, in some media outlets that, oh, look at the 3 Aussies that are going over to Middlesbrough and, what they're doing from the ALeague and stuff like that. So the ALeague is obviously doing okay here. That's our local sort of, football league and the top of what we've got, but it's nowhere near what the Championship is. And I would argue that most A-League players are looking to move into Europe, and the Championship's another step up for them, sort of thing. So when you sort of sit here and watch the A-League and stuff like that, it's too and far between, sort of thing. So a lot of people around that do love football are big Man Uniteds, are big Liverpools, are big all that sort of stuff. Remember the Harry Kewells at Liverpool and stuff like that. So there's a lot of Leeds as well. Leeds United, surprisingly enough. I guess that was, Harry Kewell and, Duke back in the day as well. So, but yeah, no, Middlesbrough's a hard recognition for a lot of people, that's for sure.
Good though, because at least you can spread the word and get talking to people.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what I was like when I moved down south. Obviously, everyone was like I say, United, Chelsea, Liverpool. I used to have an accent as well. So I had a Boro accent, and everyone was like, what the hell is that accent? Like, everyone thought I was like Scottish and wearing a Boro top. Everyone's like, who's that? So we've seen you do loads of work and announcement with the club itself. That must have been unreal. And how did that come about?
That was incredible. Yeah, that was about 48 hours prior to the announcement. I got an email. I've been in contact with the club a fair bit, just back and forth with my content and stuff like that. Obviously with the Riley McGree interview, and just obviously them loving my content and always get messages. And a message came through about 48 hours prior, and they said, "Rye, can we trust you?" sort of thing, Men in Black style. And I'm like, "Yes, what's going on?" And they said, "Right, we're signing Tommy Glover and Sammy Silvera. Can you do an announcement for us?" And I was actually, funny enough, on holiday up the beach, just getting away for a bit on school holidays that were here. And I said, "Yeah, but I'm not, I've got my phone. Like, that's it. I'm holiday on the beach." And they said, "Yeah, just do what you can," sort of thing. So I was on a beach. I picked a nice day and sat there and just sort of came up with something, and they absolutely loved it. And yeah, 48 hours later, it was used as the announcement for the two lads, and incredible because I'd, just recently, only 5-6 months ago, done the Riley McGree interview, and it was a pinch myself moment. And then to be able to announce players for the club, like, just unheard of. It's just another level. So another pinch myself moment, and one that I'll never forget. And yeah, there's a lot more coming, and there's a lot more. I don't know announcements or anything. All right, I'm not. I got nothing
exclusive.
Up my sleeve. Yeah. But Cameron Archer's coming. No, I'm kidding. And yeah, so hopefully, with more time and more sort of, diving into this whole new world that's, online for me. It's, there's a lot more to come, and working with the club is, incredible. They're, the most amazing people and staff, and their digital creation team has always been so friendly and amazingly supportive of me and my content. So
brilliant. Yeah. The last few years, us as fans, we've noticed that the, especially on social media, it's got so much better. I think there was a point where it was just very like all these other clubs were doing funky things and like thinking outside the box, and we were just always dry. Or we were like, we were about 2 weeks. Everyone knew the news. We'd sign someone and it'd come out 2 weeks later, or like, and everyone was like, "Oh, come on, admin, man, just give us the news," type thing. And it'd be like a boring article that you got to read like millions of words. And like, no, we need something cool, fun. Kids these days, mate, they've got no attention span. They want a funny video that lasts 5 seconds and they're on to the next thing. So yeah, finally got that now, Boro. So yeah, thanks for sorting all that out. Yeah, on to the next point then. So you've obviously spoke about stuff you've done with Boro and stuff like that. What do you want to do? Like, what are your next steps? I know you spoke about maybe doing stuff in the future. Would you broaden your horizons and do stuff on, I don't know, wider football content or other sports? I know you mentioned a few sports already. What is the plan for the next couple of years?
I don't know if I've got a plan as such. I think I was just going to keep continuing to share my passion and love for the Middlesbrough Football Club. I've got a couple of opportunities coming up with the Red, the local radio station that's being run. We're going to be on a breakfast show, actually. That's going to be sort of kicking off soon, and that's going to be a big commitment that I'm really excited to be a part of. And then I've got some Dallas Cowboys, sort of early days, obviously, with the YouTube. I used to do Dallas Cowboys and Middlesbrough stuff, and I've got actually some connections with the Dallas Cowboys now as well. So I'll still obviously be doing my reactions to, the two sports that sort of are outside of my, my world in Dallas, in America, and Middlesbrough, obviously so far away. And that's sort of where I want to focus and share my passion for. And just keep continuing to show my reactions and enjoy the football fans that have, are following and supportive of me, and, be a part of the club from so far away. And I think like at the end of the day, I really already achieved what I set out to achieve, which was having people to sort of watch the Boro with. That was really it. I was sitting here at 2 a.m., 4 a.m. by myself, just lonely, just, breaking curtains and stuff like that, but with no one around. And with my watch-alongs now, the live watch-alongs that I've been doing on Twitch, which I've just moved it to this year, I have Boro fans just coming in and chatting with me while we're watching the game, and that's just brilliant because you just don't feel alone. You feel part of it then, and someone's saying, "Did you see that?" And, you're sort of reacting to it at the same time. So, having people to share my passions with is something that's been so foreign to me, is because the teams are so far away. So, and even just jumping on podcasts and stuff like that. I love doing that. You know what I mean? Just being on the 12th man and a few others now as well. And, just sitting there chatting Boro is just amazing. Not something you get to do here in Australia.
Exactly, mate. Living the dream. Right. What you need to do is you need to get a Dallas / Aussie tour in one summer, a three-way tour. Get all three teams on it, and
incredible, mate. Incredible.
Actually,
I'm so jealous. I was talking to Riley the other day. The Socceroos are actually playing Mexico in an international friendly at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium at the ATT Stadium, which is like a combined of everything that I love. Riley McGree and the Socceroos at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. Like, I couldn't believe it. So very, very jealous of that one.
That's class. I've got tickets to. I follow England as well. I'm part of the England Travel Supporters Club. So we've got Australia in October, is it? I think at Wembley. Mm-hmm. We've got a double header. We've got Australia and then Italy, which will be a tasty few days. So I'm looking forward to that. Should be a good one. Wonder how many Aussies will come. There's quite a few in London, obviously. So
yeah, well, I mean, there was watching the Ashes, which we can talk about if you want to.
Yeah. Draw, mate. We would have won that.
There seemed to be, a big Aussie contingent, and obviously, there's a massive sort of connection there between England and obviously Australia still, and the rivalries with each sport and all that sort of stuff. There seems to be, a lot of Aussies based in England. I've got a couple of cousins that still live there, and we got a few British people around here now as well. So it's an incredible connection that we have between the two countries. I reckon better than most, I would argue.
Yeah, definitely. And there's some good sporting battles. Obviously, cricket. You've got rugby. Football's a bit of a non-contest, but doesn't matter about that. And then women's football. There's every possibility we'll get you in the what's it called, Women's World Cup.
Yeah, Speaking of World Cup,
is it mad over there? Is it World Cup fever?
Incredible, mate. Yeah, it's really taken off, and I'm really, really impressed with how Australia's embraced it, because obviously there's such conjecture, obviously, with football here in Australia struggling. Obviously, there's the ALeague isn't getting the the views and all that sort of stuff. But the Matildas the other week, they broke TV records here in Australia for the most watched TV program ever, sort of thing. It's incredible the support and love Australia's had and embrace this team, and so should. You know what I mean? The girls are doing amazing. You know what I mean? And they're great. They're great footballers. Sam Kerr obviously, but there's so many more in there, and they're playing for like world class clubs. Do you know what I mean? We got Rosa, who's Real Madrid, Sam Kerr, Chelsea, obviously. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's some girls in there just doing worldly things, and the recognition is finally deserved. And yeah, I hope it grows the platform of football here in Australia, because it's still so far behind here. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, we've got AFL obviously behind me. That dominates. NRL, which is our rugby league, that dominates. Cricket, when that's on, that dominates. And then you sort of get to football, and it's kind of, there's just something else on, really. And, as a kid, I grew up with an old man, and that we used to connect on sport. You know what I mean? We just sit there and talk about sport, and it was just something that we sort of connected on. And it was never football. Do you know what I mean? It was always something else. And I think most Aussies kids growing up, football's just a secondary, unless, you're in a footballing family sort of thing. AFL and everything else seems to dominate it. So the girls are just doing amazing to put football on the forefront, and so it should.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Long way to continue until they meet the Lionesses, and then then we'll see. But yeah, we've been. I watched a few of the games. That Nigeria game was, they just bullied us. But the China game was the other one I watched, and I thought we were decent. We played really well. Obviously, a shame with Lauren James and stuff, but. Yeah. Can still see us both going far.
Yeah, no, I do agree. Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting contest, and it's funny to see, like, even though it's completely different teams, you still got the classic footballing nations doing well, the Englands, the France, all that sort of stuff. Which do well in the men's sort of competition. It just shows you that that it is so strong in those nations, that those teams just continue to do well, but. There's always those surprise teams in that, and obviously Australia got the chance at, at home hosting it, that hopefully we can, go all the way, and fingers crossed.
Nice. So Obviously, we just signed a couple of Aussies. We've got a history of Aussies. Who are your favourite Aussies from Boro's past? My top two, obviously, Viduka and Schwarzer. They're the big dogs. Like, I remember, I bet I met Schwarzer when I must have only been about 10. I was at Teesside Airport. They were going, God knows where they were going, but I remember looking up and I was thinking, oh my God, this geezer is a giant. But he was a nicest bloke. They all were, to be fair. Didn't meet Mark Viduka, but I've seen some of his goals, like some of the ones that he scored. But I think one against Charlton was ridiculous. I remember one against Birmingham City where he just took it down from a ridiculous angle and then just swiveled and then banged it top bins. In terms of techers, like for such a big unit, he was so good. He was unreal. He was,
yeah, for someone without pace. And sort of back then, I guess the pacey sort of striker wasn't really a thing. You look at the Thierry Henrys and all that, I guess they were just, different business. But Duke was just incredible, you know what I mean? And he was playing with Yakubu and, Hasselbank and all that. I think he was, to me, like the Michael Owen of Middlesbrough. He just popped up as a poacher always, and he was just in the right spots, and he'd head it in or he'd, turn and do crack a shot, and you're just like, where does that come from? So definitely Mark Schwartz is my favourite. He was my idol. Hopefully the chance to talk to him in the next couple of weeks, and I'll be, see how that goes. And and obviously I've got to say Riley, just because it's the first player I've been able to interview and have a chat with, and now we just message each other on Instagram, and he's the most incredible, humble guy, and we just
he comes across really well.
Yeah, he's just it's crazy how close we are in connection. We were both born in the same town. He went to play to Newcastle. I was based in Newcastle in the military, and we've literally been following each other, in different careers and different paths to both, line up, obviously him as a superstar player and for the Socceroos, and now Middlesbrough, and me obviously just being a passionate Boro fan. So it's incredible to sort of, have that relationship and then also get the chance to talk to him. But I remember, the most of the Aussies that are coming through, even Reece Williams, I used to like watching Reece Williams, and he was dogged by injury. Scott McDonald for a bit there was incredible, bringing him in, when we had the Scottish Revolution. Scotty McDonald was amazing. Having him in there, because he was massive here in Australia.
He was good though. Out of those lot that come over, he was probably the best.
He was banging goals in for Celtic for ages, you know what I mean? So him in a Boro shirt was pretty incredible. So, and then obviously, the older boys as well, which were a bit before my time, there's always been sort of a great connection there, which is, funny because, as I said, Middlesbrough was still not really recognised in Australia, despite having always a good Aussie presence within the team, I would argue. Most years there's been at least one.
Yeah, and let's get some more Aussies over. If they're the Mark Vidukas and the Schwartzers of this world and the McGrees, I mean, they just become fan favourites, didn't they?
Yeah.
They're all really good on camera.
I think he'll be the next one.
This bringing me on to this point. Obviously, we just spoke about Riley McGree. I think everyone knows a bit about him. He's done bits for us already. But talk to me about the other two.
Sammy Silvera is incredible. Like, I picked him up.
Quality.
I was watching him through Central Coast. We had the grand final, which they call it here, which he played in, and he was just he was so far and above on that grand final game. He banged a goal in, but he was everywhere. And I remember watching him going, holy, that guy's going somewhere. He's no way he's in the A-League next season. And so watching Sammy and then seeing Boro then linked with him, I was like, no way. You know what I mean? It was just a weird coincidence sort of thing.
So you weren't the scout?
Nah, I wasn't. Nah, I was. Yeah, I messaged them. And I said, Boro, look. And then, he was just, such a kid with flair, and he's got so much confidence in his game. I thought initially that he might struggle in England just with the physicality of it. That was the only thing I think was my worry with Sammy, was being a smaller kid, and in the A-League's not very physical. You get a lot of time on the ball and a lot of space, and the English, you come up against McFadzeans at Coventry this weekend, and these big burly defenders that love to get under your skin and give you a couple of bruises and scratches to know you've played against them. That was sort of my worry, but Sammy's he's just twirling around him, and that's incredible. So. And then obviously Tommy Glover is an amazing goalkeeper. He was he was always someone that we sort of watched because he was unfortunately in part of like one of the worst days of A-League history that we ever had, where there was some flares thrown on the pitch, and he and obviously being the goalkeeper, he went and threw them back, and it caused a riot, and all these fans started storming the pitch, and he got hit in the head, and it was just a wild moment. So I knew Tommy obviously through that, unfortunately, for the wrong reasons, but when you sort of got to watch him and see him as the quality keeper that he was, it was a no-brainer for Boro, especially on a free. You know what I mean? And I think you saw him against Huddersfield. That right-hand save he made, was incredible. So yeah, I think it's they're both quality signings. One on a free, and Sammy obviously not as expensive as I think what he will be in a few years for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking really forward to seeing both of them, especially Sammy. What I have seen of him, picking up the ball, taking on people, little 1-2s and stuff like that. He looks like the player that's going to get people off their seats and stuff. So, which is what we all want, isn't it? Really, that's all we want.
Exactly. Yeah.
We could do a few more of them.
It's going to cause me to break a few things around here, I think, when him and Riley are on the pitch doing wonders. So, it's incredible, and it's just a special connection. Do you know what I mean? To have Aussies on the pitch doing amazing things for the Boro. You know what I mean? It just grows my love even more. You know what I mean? So,
but my friend actually asked me to ask you this. What would you say the standard of the A-League is in comparison to England's league system?
I would say like I would say like League Two, League One-ish sort of thing. Yeah. It's definitely below. I mean, like I'd say League One. League One, I would say on par. I think a few teams at League One would probably struggle with a good A-League team. Because there are some good players in there, and there are some decent players. But the A-League is still a league that every kid would dream to come and play for a club like Middlesbrough, even for a club to go and play, for someone to go play in Portsmouth in League One sort of thing, for instance. Some of these massive English clubs that you see riddled through all the way down to League Two, they're dream clubs for anyone in the A-League, especially a young Aussie kid. So at the A-League, in terms of skill level, I would say League One, but in terms of like playing, I think there'd be not one kid in Australia that would turn down the opportunity to go on, if Portsmouth came ringing, or even Boro, or anyone through the championship. So there's we see a lot of boys go to Celtic as well. And obviously Ange Postecoglou as well now going to Tottenham as the gaffer there. So it's a dream for any Aussie obviously to break into the English at any level, I would argue.
Yeah, definitely. There's so much more opportunity over here. Obviously, the leagues are bigger. There's more teams.
Exactly.
There's more media coverage. There's more TV, and like you say, even when I was in Australia, I noticed that football was very much bottom of the barrel. It was, I think, Aussie rules was top, and then rugby league, and then rugby union, and cricket obviously is up there. But
the one thing that I think just summarizes it perfectly is that the Socceroos, our national football team, don't have a headquarters. So when they all get together and come to Australia, they just meet up wherever they can. There's no headquarters. There's no like training ground, like organization, anywhere for them to go. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was saying, like Riley McGree and that, when they, these boys are on 16, 17-hour flights, and then, they're getting ice baths in their hotel room to get their legs and muscles ready after a stupid long flight to get ready to play a football match. So, it's so.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so far behind that.
You think these days, especially like when there's so much emphasis on sports science and muscles and nutrition, all this type of thing, you think that they'd at least have even just hire like a leisure centre, just buy a leisure centre and stick the Socceroo logo on it.
They just go wherever they can get, they can get some room or in a training pitch, and have an ice bath in their hotel rooms, for God's sake. So it's just so dominated by AFL and NRL and cricket that the government just funds those because that's where the money is. That's where, the government's not silly. They're not going to invest in something that's not going to generate any income for them, sort of thing. So they focus on the bigger Australian sports, and football gets forgotten about.
So I've got last couple of questions here then. So one thing that fascinates me, and probably does a load of other Boro fans, what is your match day routine? Like for me, I get up in the morning, if I'm going to the game, I chill out for a few hours. I either drive there, usually get on the beers, get a train there, whatever. Get to the game, and then if it's in London, it's an hour from me. If it's up in Boro, I'm staying over at family, or if it's in the Midlands, I'm getting the train back or something. So it's not usually any hassle. The only hassle comes when we lose, and I'm annoyed. So, but what's that like for you? Like, what is your routine? Say it's a 3 o'clock kickoff here. What's your routine?
Well, that's 3 o'clock kickoff is like 4 a.m. for me, 3 a.m. for me. So normally I would just, depending on if it's a midday, if it's a midweek, I've got work, you know what I mean? So I've got to sort of balance that. But normally I would either, have an alarm set for about an hour beforehand, or, try and push through if it's a midnight game or something like that and just stay up for it sort of thing. So, it's just about me coming down here into the computer room, my little office, getting my scarf on, getting the jersey in the background. And then, going live somewhere, really. It's, now I'm doing it on Twitch, which has been an incredible sort of change this year, because I've really wanted to separate the stuff from YouTube to keep that for my video content, and then still have a place where we can hang out and do live watch along. So it's going live somewhere, and we're going to be doing it. And we're going to be doing it on the radio as well. So I've got my live watch alongs also being replayed there. So just having somewhere to, to come and chat. And even if it's, I never really put any sort of emphasis on it, but even having 1 to 2 people hanging out is just better than none sort of thing. Yeah. So I've never really worried about numbers or subscribers or anything like that. I just keep sharing my passion, and having, 1 to 2 people, that come in and chat Boro is just incredible. And that's my routine. I sit there, watch the game, be myself. If the camera wasn't on, trust what you see is exactly how I am, mate, even without a camera on. When Riley scored and there was no camera, I would have been down the street, mate. I was so ecstatic for him, especially because I've got that connection now. So, messaging him, and he's like, oh, I'm desperate for a goal sort of thing. And you just sort of feel with him. So, my match routine is literally just, exactly what it would be if there wasn't a camera on. I've just decided to turn a camera on, and people are like, you're
love that, mate,
sort of thing. But it's just me. I'm just passionate. It's how I show it. It's it's just, I can't sit there and golf that when there's a streamer, or there's there's the boys who come and playing attacking footy that Carrick's created sort of thing.
Mate, I'm the same. Obviously, I don't have the camera on me. When I'm watching it here, I've got iFollow at home. Missy just looks at me like, what's the point? I just don't get it. She just doesn't get it. Kids looking at me like, what happened? I'm just going mad at the TV.
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Yeah. Me breaking stuff is getting a bit old with the missus, I think. So I've got to be a bit more gentle. But
I need to get you over. You need to come over for a game.
Yeah, no, it's been a thing. I've got a second child on the way, so that's been sort of
congratulations.
My focus. Thank you. So we got a little girl due in November. So there has been some offers and some talks and stuff like that. Yeah. A lot of the fans keep offering to do a GoFundMe and to get me over. And as kind and as amazing that is it's just not something I've ever wanted to do, was to take money off the Boro fans. It's just, life's tough enough than to get me on a holiday plane. Do you know what I mean? To watch a game. So, through YouTube, through Twitch, through my content, any money that I make, which, obviously isn't much, but, whatever I can, I put towards, this little Riverside fund to try and get me back over. And I hope early next year, maybe that, once my little one's settled and stuff, that I might be able to, and through the radio gig and that's coming up, and still working toward with the club, and that hopefully, there's some more opportunities to get over there and have a good couple of weeks. Matto's invited me to come on BBC commentary, and
mate, I'm sure that and stuff, so I'm sure you'd have media requests coming out your ass. You'd be but you need to do, the Riverside's great and all that, but you need to do an away game.
That's what I want to do. I don't want to go over just for one game. Do you know what I mean? I'd definitely need to do. I want to go on the travel. I want to be on the train with the bus, whatever. Have a pint. I want to experience all that.
The ideal situation would be, say you came for 2 or 3 weeks, start of the year, a couple of home games, a decent away game at I don't know, Midlands or Southern team, or obviously Sunderland, but Sunderland and Leeds, I think they're this half of the year. I think Leeds is early December. But then if we got a big team in the third round of the FA Cup, we went to Old Trafford or the Emirates, That
would be incredible.
That'd be the dream, mate. That Old Trafford trip a couple of years ago was carnage. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, no, that'd be the dream. To definitely get a couple of games in and check out some of those amazing stadiums over there for sure.
Yeah. Nice. So this is onto my last bit then. So predictions for the 23-24 season. I've got top goal scorer for us, obviously, standout player, league position, and the 3 championship teams to get promoted. Who have you got?
Good question. I think, obviously, I'm going to put the Boro in the promotion. Let's do the promotion teams. I think I've got the Boro in there. I think Southampton will be with their squad. You know, I think they will be very close. And my dark horse, which a lot of people sort of don't see it, but I think Stoke City are going to have a actual blinder this season. I think
whatever you do, do not come for Stoke away. Stoke away is the worst away day you'll ever go to in your life. It's in the middle of nowhere. There's no cash machines. It's just traffic coming out your ass. Mate, honestly, if it's Stoke, just don't come. Do a week later, honestly.
I think the common thing is that can he handle a night, away game at night at Stoke when it's pissing down rain sort of thing. So
mate, can you handle
a comparison?
Can you handle a day in Stoke when it's sunny, mate?
Yeah,
honestly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. And we never win.
They're my darkies, yeah. They're my darkies. So I just think Alex Neil, I remember him, Karanka, Wembley, him in his tracksuit.
Prime eyes out.
So I just think yes. So I'm going Borough, Southampton, and probably Stoke as my darkies. That's who I'm seeing early on. Standout player, I think Sammy Silvera's got it in the bag this season. I think Sammy Silvera will just take the Borough by storm. Yeah, I think he'll have, the most sort of highlight reel, if you will, sort of thing when you look back at it. And he's the type of player that just grabs your eyes. You know what I mean? And I think there are some players in there that, you've got Johnny Howsons and Lenahans and, the boys that are just, solid each week in, week out. But they don't grab your attention as much as Sammy's going to. And, he's got the bright pink boots and stuff like that. So it's easy to spot him. And I think he's going to have a very standout season. And I think he's going to be the one that everyone talks about as how good was Sammy this season sort of thing. So, yeah, I think so. And I think the top scorer is a good one. I think the top scorer potentially isn't even at the club yet. I think there's, I think we're maybe sort of still looking at someone that comes in to be the top scorer. I think all the boys are obviously going to chip in that are there sort of thing. But in terms of who's got the goals in them, I think Force is maybe, our top sort of chance to be, get, 10, maybe 11. But I think, the Chuba Akpom levels, I don't think they're at the club, and I think that's, we've still got a few more weeks to sort that out. But you got this Latte, which I absolutely love that name, by the way. And, Engel at left back and potentially, if we can, somehow scrounge that as well.
That's the dream.
Like you said, dipping back into Carrick's sort of, address book to be able to, get some Man United youngsters and stuff, which shocks me that hasn't even been dipped, because that was a big thing when he first came in, that he said he's got an address book full of names that he might be able to contact and, pull some names. But obviously it's Kieran Scott's world. And obviously if he's got, any say, then he might get a couple of youngsters in the coming weeks sort of thing. But I honestly think the top scorer is not even at the club yet.
Well, if he's not here and we do get one, that's only good positive signs, isn't it? Because I think everyone is crying out for that number 9.
We are, yeah. We've left it blank for a reason, for sure.
I'm hoping that you've got some intel just through your DMs with the Borough official that you're not latching onto.
Nothing at the moment. Nothing at the moment.
Cool.
Potentially soon, but no, nothing I can reveal or say at the moment for sure.
Nice. Well, mate, that was unreal. What was that? 40 odd minutes of just chatting absolute rubbish about Borough from down under. That was unreal. While we're on it, what are your socials? Give your socials a bit of a shout out if anyone that's still. So
obviously you can catch me on. The YouTube, obviously, is where you can get all the Middlesbrough and my sports content in long form. If you are based around the world and can't make match day, then I do the live watch alongs over on my Twitch. It's just twitch.tv/Inrictus. I'm really trying to push, the live watch alongs as a place that people can come hang out. If you're like me, you're alone. It's a stupid o'clock for you, wherever you are based in the world. Come hang out, come chat. We've got, a fair few Borough boys and girls in there now that just come in and, watch the game with me. You can watch me live, break stuff and stuff like that. So that's a big one. And then obviously your Twitter and my Instagram and TikTok is obviously just all Inrictus. So Yeah, it's a bit of a weird name. I haven't used my name, but it's a name that's close to my heart in Inrictus, based on Invictus Games, Prince Harry and the veterans and injured veterans. So yeah, you can. It's just quite, Inrictus on them all, and you should be able to find this ugly head.
Oh mate, beautiful head, beautiful Aussie head. That's what we like to say. Actually, here we need one of these. I brought this down. When I went travelling in Australia, I had to bring one of these.
Yeah. Even the corks on it, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I only found out the other day, I have to get rid of the old mozzies in it. And the
it
flies.
Is, yeah, the flies and that. Yeah, they're so bad here. That's what it does. Yeah.
Just seeing them. They're floating past here. But anyway, mate, top man, that was unreal. Thank you so much for watching. Anyone that's still watching and stuck around for 45 odd minutes, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe as usual. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much, Inrictus.
No, my pleasure.
Oi, you. Yes, you. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. And please remember to hit the like and subscribe button if you want daily football content. And if you've got any football related videos you want to see me make, drop a comment and I'll see what I can do. Bang.